talk about today is the idea that everybody should be in a job and or a business that they love being in. My whole thing is that every morning you should wake up fired up to do whatever it is you're about to do, whether it's your job, whether it's going to work at a business that you're excited about, or a service, or you're offering people some sort of thing that makes them happy and you're fired up to do that. But to me, everybody deserves to be in that sort of thing. So what I want to talk about today is really how to leverage your past accomplishments into your next great career, how to take a career assessment exercise that actually works and it's not too mumbo jumbo and esoteric and weird over your head stuff. It's really pretty basic. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. We're also going to talk about why you should or shouldn't be settling for a job in this market, and what you should be doing about that. I'll also touch on briefly how important it is to network versus applying to jobs online and that sort of thing. And lastly, how to develop a list of jobs and companies and people that you want to be involved with in your next endeavor, whatever it is. So, but first of all, just a couple quick words about me. Again, my name is Mark Moyer. I am the founder of the Win Again Academy, and it's all part of this Clubroom event series. I've written a book called Win Again, which is basically a job search handbook for athletes as they transition from their sport to what's next. But anybody can read it. You can just cross out the word athlete and put in your name. It's 99% for everybody. And it really outlines how to go from the locker room or your couch to the boardroom and everything in between, including how to determine what you should be doing next, what is your true identity, how to start networking with people, what to say to them, when to say it to them, how to follow up with them, how to start arranging conversations that lead to casual meetings that lead to interviews and eventually an offer, how to prepare for an interview, how to really kick ass in the interview, how to negotiate an offer when you get it, and all the steps in between. So grab that book if you can. I just happen to have a copy of it right here. Win Again. That's right. That's the name of the academy. So grab that on Amazon and elsewhere. Secondly, I've set up this Win Again Academy to really offer athletes and non-athletes the opportunity to learn a wide variety of things, whether it is topics ranging from financial literacy, how to prepare for an interview, how to figure out what your next job should be, how much life insurance you should have, where you should be looking at real estate wise, mental health awareness, how to work on your brain health. There's so many different topics here in the Academy and so many amazing experts that come in and speak. So I would encourage everybody to become a member and to catch all the upcoming events. There's tons of them with some incredible guest speakers. So check those out. Go to my website anytime, markmoyer.com, and go to the Clubroom page, and the calendar is there. Okay, enough of that intro. I'm really good at introducing myself, I suppose. Anyway, so let's first jump in really quickly to really talk about an exercise that you can do that can really help you understand what it is that you bring to the table that will make you want to do a new job that you're going to be very successful at, you're going to love doing, you're excited doing, and so forth. And this is an exercise that is really pretty easy to do. And what I want you to do is grab a yellow pad of paper and just start writing down, just make a list of all the accomplishments that you've done throughout the course of your life that you yourself are specifically and especially proud of. It doesn't need to be something that your parents or your spouse or your family or anybody else is proud of you. It's got to be you that you're proud of, yourself. And it has to be something that had a successful result and one that really made you feel good inside. It's something that you were excited about. So for example, and I'll just throw it out there. If you were a Boy Scout and you were a Boy Scout leader leading a bunch of your fellow Boy Scouts up a mountain, and you were especially proud because you picked the trail that was the best and most direct way. These kids looked up to you as a leader, and you got there before the storm hit. You set up camp and so forth. That's a great accomplishment. Or maybe you did something in your job that came in under budget and under time, and it had the company was really excited about that. Or maybe it was something where you decided one day you wanted to run a marathon, and so you devised a training schedule and you stuck to it, and you overcame a bunch of hurdles to be successful at that, and you actually not only competed in the marathon but had a better time than you were hoping for. So there's all kinds of things that you've done throughout the course of your life that have been positive accomplishments that I want you to write down. Just write them down. And if it's helpful to do your sort of look back through your life in maybe 5-year increments so that you 5 or 10 year, depending on how old you are, but just kind of think to yourself, okay, when I was a kid, what did I do? Well, I made a really cool sandcastle that no one else ever done. I'm really proud of that. Okay, great. Maybe you, again, the Boy Scout thing in your teenage years or something, or maybe it was something you did in your early 20s, or while you're in college, you wrote a great paper that really changed a lot of minds about a certain thing. Whatever it was, make that list and try to write down between 15, 20, 25, somewhere in there of those. And then what I want you to do is take a look at those. And this is something that may take 2 or 3 days to just think through. Oh yeah, that's right. When I was 26, I did blank, or when I was 34, I did blank, or when I was 16, I did blank. Whatever it is, it's not going to come to you all right away, but over the course of time, it will. Now, take that list and think to yourself, okay, well, out of these, what are my top 6, 7, 8 of them? Somewhere in there. And what I want you to do is write down a paragraph for each one, a few sentences that really describe what about that specific accomplishment made it important to you, and what are some of the fundamental, the foundation, the elements of it. So, for example, again, going back to the Boy Scout thing, leading up thing, maybe you were, you thrived in a position of leadership. You were also very good at project management in the sense that you devised the trail going up, and then you overcame hurdles and you thrived under pressure. So, write that aspect of it down. Again, if it was training for a marathon, you talk about the training regimen, you overcame some of those hurdles, but you also set goals and you were very analytical about your training. Write that stuff down. Or whatever you might have done in your job, or something that you're very proud of, and maybe it involved pulling together a team of people, organizing them, and really being a successful project manager for that particular accomplishment. So again, write down the fundamental elements of each of those that you really were put in a position to succeed. And what you're going to find is that when you take a look back, once you've done that exercise and that assessment, is you're going to see that there are common threads that run through all of these. There's going to be basically certain things in each one of them that stand out. So maybe you'll find that out of the 7 that you did, 5 of them incorporate sort of overseeing a team of people or running a project. Or maybe it's something where you're thriving in an environment where you're just sitting in front of a computer and you're doing analytical work. Or maybe it's something where it's a pressure-filled situation and you're able to block out the noise and succeed. And the reason we're doing this is that it's really important for you to sort of think to yourself, well, if this is what are some of the fundamental elements of a job that's going to make me succeed, well, then obviously you want to incorporate those into your next job, whatever it is. So whatever, when you're looking at potential opportunities going forward, you need to make sure that each of those has something that, some of those common threads. So for example, make sure you only look at jobs that really incorporate your skill set and capability of being a project manager, or being an analyst, or being, sort of a motivator, a great leader, or a team member, whatever it might be. So make sure you do that. Next is as you're going through that exercise and you've wrapped that up and you start looking at those kind of things, well, then you need to think about, well, geez, what can I do? What is, okay, now I've figured out some of the things that I'm really good at and that I've loved doing. What do I do next with this? Well, instead of saying, well, gee, I guess that means I should be a, you know, a financial analyst or a fireman or whatever it is, instead think to yourself, well, look, what are some of the jobs that I've seen other people do that when I've seen it, I've said, you know what, I wish I was doing that. Because we all have friends that we sort of maybe envy a little bit of what they do. And maybe we hear only the greatest hits and some of the fun stuff that they do and not the other stuff. But really make a list of some of the types of companies that you think would be really cool to work at. And what I want you to do is make a list of maybe 30 or 40 companies, and whatever they are. It might be Google, it might be Target, it might be Nike, it might be Bank of something or other, or it might just be a lot of startup companies, small companies that do different things. And then from there, as you write those down, from there, really think to yourself, okay, in those companies, what are 4 or 5 jobs that I'd like to do in those companies? So, for example, it might be, gee, I'd like to be I'm a Bank of America, a financial analyst, or an equity analyst, or um, maybe a foreign exchange analyst, whatever it might be. But write those jobs down, individual jobs. And the reason I wanted you to do this target list is what I like to call it, a target list of jobs and companies, is you're going to find that if you write down, for argument's sake, 40 companies, and you write down, for argument's sake, 4 or 5 jobs at those companies that you think you'd love to be in, that you say, wow, I'd be excited to do that. Well, now you suddenly have a list of almost 200 jobs that you would love to be in. And what I tell people all the time is that at any given moment, absolutely at least 5, 10, 15, or 20 of those jobs are actually being filled or being interviewed for at any one time. And so people always say to me, Mark, it's a really tough market, because of COVID, because of whatever it is, a bad economy, a good, it doesn't matter. The market stinks. Well, honestly, it doesn't matter, because when there's a good market, everybody's out there looking for jobs or being recruited. There's lots of stuff going on, and you have a lot of competition. When it's a bad market, there's maybe not a lot of jobs that are opening up, but there's also not a lot of competition because people are hunkering down and staying where they are. So with all that said, it doesn't matter what the market conditions are like. You only need one job. You don't need 100. So that's the big push here, is to focus on which out of those 200 dream jobs you'd love to have. And look, all 200 aren't the same. There's going to be 10 or 15 or 20 that you'd truly be thrilled to be in. And then the rest are maybe you'd be really happy in. But look, the bottom line here is that I think there's a tendency, especially in bad markets, to say, well, my next job, I'm just gonna settle for, I'm just gonna grab something and I'm settling for. I just need to get employed again. And I try to really implore people, if you're gonna spend several hours looking for a crappy job, you can invest the same amount of time looking at a job that you really want to be in, one that's really at the top of your list and not just something you're settling for. So again, looking back on what I was just talking about for a minute, the career assessment exercise is absolutely essential, because you'll find as you go through it that it really pulls out a lot of things that you say, wow, I never really noticed that a lot of the things I've loved doing in the past all incorporate fill in the blank, whatever that is. And then make sure that you channel that towards what you want to do next, and develop that target list of companies, industries, and even also include people you'd love to work for and with. So if there's certain people that are, at a company that you say, golly, I'd love to be working with Sue Smith or Nancy Jones or Bob, whatever it is, do that. Focus on how can I end up on that person's team. Now, all of you who know me know that I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn. LinkedIn to me is the low-hanging fruit of finding a job, especially a dream job, and of connecting with people. Now, I am an absolute enemy of the resume. I hate resumes. I hate resumes. I hate resumes. To me, they are a two-dimensional version of you. They say nothing about you that is really overly compelling. And a lot of times it's a bunch of BS anyway. So to me, instead, I always encourage people to tell, if somebody says, hey, Mark, send me your resume, I'll say, well, I'm still working on it, I'm tweaking on it, which is mostly BS, but I'll say that. And I'll say, listen, instead, let me send you the link to my LinkedIn profile. I want you to see that, because to me, a LinkedIn profile is basically your greatest hits. There's going to be a picture of you, which is going to be a strong picture of you. There's going to be a title that really defines what it is you bring to the table. There's going to be an about section that really talks about what it is you're bringing to that table. So it might be something where you're saying, that you're trying to leverage the skill set you've developed throughout your career into a new opportunity within a company that is a progressive company in the forestry industry, whatever it might be. But again, your LinkedIn profile will also showcase some of the groups that you're a member of. It'll talk about some of the things that you've done, maybe articles that you've written, videos that you've recorded. It's really a solid greatest hits package. So I encourage all of you, whenever anybody asks for, whether it's a bio or a resume, etc., send them to your LinkedIn profile, especially if you've optimized it to look really sharp. Obviously, that's something I can talk to you about another time. But again, what I wanted to talk about today was just really a quick chunk of time to talk about working on that career assessment exercise, really mapping out what it is that you've done in the past in your accomplishments, you've been especially proud of, that you can then distill down to a few fundamental skills and and elements that you can really bring into your next opportunity. And then, because look, just by sheer logic and reason, if you happen to be really good at a few certain things that you love doing, and they give you fulfillment and they reward you financially and so forth, well, of course you're going to want to bring those to your next job, because then you're going to be that much better. If you're in a job that you're excited about, fulfilled in, good at doing, the financial reward will follow. So many people ask me, Mark, I've been for example, a lawyer for 15 years, but I really don't want to do law anymore, or I've kind of not thrilled about doing it in banking. I'll say, look, you can do law, but do it in something you love doing. So if it's sports, go be a lawyer for, minor league baseball team. Or if you really enjoy the outdoors, go be a lawyer for Patagonia or Rossignol skis or whatever it might be, Nike or something. You don't need to necessarily completely abandon the lawyering part, but you can do it in something that really excites you. And it goes for anything else, whether it's finance, real estate, etc. Any industry that you're in, you can always continue to do similar work, but do it in a company or an environment that you love to be in, that you'd be excited to be a part of. So tying this all together, again, career assessment exercise, try to really work on that. I think you're going to find that it really sort of opens your eyes to what you're all about and what you bring to the table. And then really invest your time in looking for a job based on your target list of companies you'd be thrilled to be at, target list of positions you'd love to be at in those companies, and then start making connections on LinkedIn with people at those companies, sending them a very personalized message that really talks about how you have a very strong interest in um, having a conversation and asking advice from those people. That a connection will be made and it'll lead to phone calls that'll eventually lead to casual meetings, coffees, etc., that lead to more formal interviews and eventually offers in the job that you'd love to be in. So I hope this has been really helpful for you. I think you're going to find that as you go through it, you'll have specific questions. Obviously, feel free to reach out to me directly about that. But in the meantime, get through this exercise, and you're going to absolutely see a whole lot of new opportunities come to you that you'd never thought of, that will lead to that dream job. I hope this has been helpful, and make sure to go to my website anytime for much more information. Reach out to me directly, mark@markmoyer.com, and attend more events in the Clubroom. And